Welcome back, Magical Land of Art friends, and today we are going to be drawing a extremely simple landscape, and it will have a tree in it because we've been focusing on trees a little bit. And I started off with a pencil. Now, this is not normally what I do. I normally just draw with pen, and eventually you're going to see me switch over to pen because I personally, the way I work, I just really like black lines. I don't know, they just pop on the paper, you can see it better. Also, I just hate graphite on my hands. I just hate it. So in a minute you're going to see me switch over. But as you can see, I'm drawing the trunk of my tree and the main limbs that are the largest that you can see in the photo. And I do this for one specific reason. Well, a couple of reasons really. One is because those are the ones that I can see the most, and here I am going through and outlining everything. Those are the ones that I can see the most, those limbs, and they're the ones where I can keep track of how many branches are on there. Now, you will never be able, I personally think it is physically impossible, but then again, I'm not a perfect human, so whatever, guys. So you will never be able to draw every single branch on a tree. It's just impossible. However, you can make it look like you have every single branch on that tree, or at least most of them. And like I said, when you're drawing branches, trees, branches, they grow in a Y shape. At least most of the trees that I've seen have. So make sure that you're using the Y shape to your advantage. And when I draw, I like to again, make the branches that are the most seeable, like the ones that are the largest and everything like that. And then I add little twigs and bits and bobs here and there just to make a space. And again, when you're drawing, be kind to yourself. Not every picture is going to be perfect. Not every drawing is going to look exactly like the photo or be amazing. Sometimes the best thing about drawing, and honestly I think this is the number thing about art in general, is that you have a good time doing it. Art is not about everybody else and their opinion. Your art and whatever you decide to draw that day is about you and how you feel. And at the end of the day, if that made you feel good to draw a doodle or a full-on landscape drawing, by all means, friends, continue. Another thing I want to point out is while you're drawing, it's easy to end up having your hand cramp up or something because you're really holding on to that pen or pencil, whatever utensil you're using, and you're really focused in. And I want you to remember to put that down sometimes. Put that pen, put that pencil down sometimes. Let your hand rest for a second, stretch it out, maybe go get some water or something, and then you can come back. Because the minute you start to have your hands get tired while you're drawing is the minute when your branches start to look sloppy. And at some point in this drawing, that kind of happened to me a couple times because I would forget to take that break. Yep, there it goes. I just pointed at it. Right in the bottom left is my sloppy branch. So, it happens. Just make sure that you take that break. Give yourself a rest. I made myself a hot cup of tea because it's tea time somewhere. So in this one, we are not doing a silhouette drawing like we've done in the last one. So in this one, you can see the branches. So when you go to draw your branches, if your branch that you're drawing at the time is behind another branch, you want to make sure that the branch in the front is drawn first, okay? If you happen to not have drawn that branch first, then you will have to move some of your branches in your drawing. However, when I drew this one, I did one big branch in the front, and then I created a branch in the back jutting out from the main trunk of the tree. And what I did was that I drew that, like I said, I drew the branch, and then I stopped at that one line where that one branch is in the front. And then I just continue to draw on the other side of that branch. And because this is a drawing that's very springtime, you know, and there are leaves inside of that photograph that we just saw of the video, of the picture, sorry friends, of the picture up front, I just decided to add little buds as best as I could. I'm actually not the best at drawing a full tree full of like leaves and buds and things like that. I'm not really good at that. Sometimes I will get lost in the branches of the tree because I've made so many I don't know where to start at. But you know, that's okay. Just keep going. It's not a big deal. It's just your drawing and you just are there to have fun and have a good time. So when I draw the buds, I basically draw all the twigs and then I just add little tiny circles at the end, and you can stylize these to make them more like an oval or even like a leaf, and you can even add flowers, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do. So in this drawing, it's a simple landscape. I really just have a tree and the ground. I wanted to make it as simple as possible. The tree is in the foreground. Foreground means that it's in the front. The background is the back, so everything behind the tree. Right now it's white because we're only doing a drawing, but if I added color, I might do either a dark sky or a bright blue sky, whatever I decide. But what you can see right now is that the tree and the ground is in the foreground. That means front. The background is in the back. This particular drawing does not have a middle ground. I decided to leave it out because I wanted to keep this as simple as possible for you guys. So, when you're drawing, like I said, it's easy to get lost in the amount of branches you have. I have a lot of branches happening here, and it's hard to keep track of them all. So at some point I accidentally drew over one of the branches that were in the front with a branch that's supposed to be in the back. I think you can see the lines on the left in the middle. And I mean, it happens. Like there are so many branches, you're gonna get lost in there, and it's okay. I mean, there's things called happy accidents, just like Bob Ross says, and sometimes you can make them work with the drawing. At this point, I'm just adding more branches to that side because I've kind of neglected that half a little bit. And again, this is a long drawing. I sped up the time to make it so it's not so long for you guys to watch. But, you know, if you're actually in the thick of it, like making your drawing, you're going to be in there like for a while drawing. So make sure that you're taking breaks, stretching your hands, and hydrating yourself because you don't want to get lost in the magical land of art for too long. So sorry that sometimes my camera slips a little bit. I'm holding it in my hand, so it's kind of hard to hold a camera and draw at the same time. So, once we get past my arm being in the way, there we go. Up, there she is again, back in the way. So, anyway, while you're drawing, it's okay to like hop around your drawing. That's what I've done sometimes. I mean, some people like to work with, you know, in one spot, in one section, and if that's your thing, that's totally fine. If you're like me and you can't stay in one spot for too long, don't feel bad. You can hop around. It's okay. Sometimes you just need a new start, a new section, a new fresh place to work at. So we're going to be nearing the end of the drawing soon. But I wanted to remind you guys, because this is your own drawing, if you're following along with me, that's great. You'll have the basics like your foreground, your background, you'll have your tree, your ground, or grass or whatever you would prefer that to be. And that's awesome. So you have the staples. And then now, once you're done with this, if you wanted to add more, you could. You could add bushes, more trees, people, houses, birds flying in the sky. You could do anything you want. And the paper I'm using is a paper that's really just for drawing, but if you used a mixed media paper, especially a watercolor paper, I love watercolor paper, this would be a great drawing for just a simple watercolor. So at this point, since we're nearing the end, this is the time where I continue to add bits and bobs of twigs and buds and leaves just to add a little bit more fullness to my tree. I will also use my marker to really thicken some of the lines and branches that I might have, and even just fix little things here and there that I might not have seen while I was drawing. As you can see, I'm following the Y method because that is how trees grow, at least this one in particular does. And there we go. Oh, gotta add a couple more leaves. There you go. A couple twigs there. Good job, Jessica. And there you have it, guys. An extremely simple landscape drawing. Foreground, background, no middle ground, just very simple. Plus you have a tree, and like I said, this is a good starting point for other amazing things that you could add. Thanks for watching, you guys. Today's magical artist of the week is Caspar David Friedrich. He was born in Germany, and he was born in the 1700s, you guys, so there's no photo of him, and he is really old, so we have this drawing that he did. He's a landscape painter, and he's inspired by nature and his own personal beliefs. Friedrich was not always popular during his time because the people then didn't really understand his work. Today, however, he is an icon in Germany and considered the most important German Romantic artist of this time. He was fascinated by nature and could see the presence of the divine in all of it. He just really liked nature, you guys, and I think he felt that being in nature was something that he could really connect with, like most of us right now who can't go outside. Alright guys, see you next time and have a magical week.